Hi, my name's Kathy Millett, and this week we're looking at how to make a vine, sort of twirl tree, very much like these, with these roots, something you might see in a jungle. So here's some footage to show exactly what these kind of jungles are like in Halo, and this is the look that I'm going for, and you can see that winding branch as you go along and loads of vertical and quite dim and dark, and a lot of that effect will have to be in the photos because you won't get it in the way that we do the models, but the model has to be able to fit seamlessly into this background. Of course, I also went and looked at real jungles because Halo was informed by real jungles, and the lianas that I wanted were quite hard to find just in some of the Halo imagery. They're always in the background. So I went away and looked at photos, just type in liana, jungle creeper, jungle vine, and see what photos you come up with. And it's important that you always go back to something that's real, even when you're doing sci-fi, because people still expect it to look like something they understand and know. I've been wondering all week, how do I do the lianas, the creepers, the vines? And they need to come down and then hang. And I'm worried I could do them out of some kind of putty or anything like that, but aren't they just going to get knocked, especially the ones that I'm planning to put down here? So I've been looking at string, and actually I've got another 2 or 3 at my mum's house where I've been twining string. So I've got string, I've got thin string and thick string, and this is garden twine. And I've untwirled it, it was 3 strands, and retwirled it. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to wrap it around, just starting this off at the bottom and putting it round so I get a nice sort of little bit extra twirl round. So it just starts looking, and then I'm going to cut these bits up and start a new bit at the top. But it's going to be just an experiment to see if it works. And it probably will just be a little bit, yeah. But I need something on this, don't I? This is not quite cutting it yet, and I've been thinking, and I'm going to try Celluclay and glue and a little bit of water and make a little concoction that I think can coat this, and then it can act, it won't be totally set solid because there'll be a lot of glue in it, and it will be rubbery so that when it hangs down it will be fine, and it will have a different texture to this because it's made from a different substance, and I want the Celluclay just to give it a little bit of body, but I don't want too much. So I'm going to get a plastic bag, put all those ingredients in and see what it turns out like. So first up, I need a really big bag to mix all this in. Maybe it doesn't need to be this bag. And I'm just using some plain PVA. This is Decorator's PVA, merely because I've got it, and I'm just going to use it all up. And you can see it's quite glubby and horrible, but it's quite thin as well. It's not a great PVA for gluing things with over the years. I mean, I've bought it and thought afterwards, not ideal, but there we go. End of that one. And next in is some Celluclay, which we were using earlier. Oops. And I'm putting this in just for a little bit of texture, as I said. So I don't need a huge amount, but I'm still going to put a sort of 3 very small handfuls in. Let's see how that looks. Then I'm going to shut this up a bit and give it a bit of a squidge. Ooh, lovely. So I've just got a brush. This just happened to be the first one I found that was big. It's a foam brush, and I'm going to try just starting these. Just turn it around so I get this. I'm going to just put that into there, and I'm going to try and wrap it round so it goes like this across here. Now I need to just secure it there for now because I want this to sort of wrap in and out and get glued, and I'm going to cut it eventually. So I'm just going to masking tape these up here. There we go. So now I've got that starting there, and then the next one I'm going to put on, these are just test ones of different thicknesses of the twine. So actually I should have masking taped afterwards. Poke that down there. I'm going to go up and round. And why didn't I do this first? To be honest, I wasn't sure how I was going to get this. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do, so I think this is just a sort of a refinement on what I was planning on doing. And that happens, doesn't it, when you're modelling? You do something and then you go, oh, actually what I really wanted to do was that. And you realise that you wanted something completely different. So, top coat going on. Should have done this in a bowl really, but I was expecting to dunk them. Oh well. Yuck. Now if this isn't going to work well enough, I can always add a bit of water on. But what I wanted was just the ability to just mould it slightly. And I'm worried if it's too wet I won't be able to. So what I'm doing is just using this brush to just smooth over all of these little sort of hairy bits. So I'm really pleased how this came out overnight. It's solid, it's a little bit more fibrous than I want it, and the Celluclay is a little bit more bumpy. So I was busy twisting rope last night, and I just thought I'd show you briefly how I do that. So I've got green twine, and pulling it out the centre, it's very important. I'm just going to do a small bit. I've made all sorts of different sizes. Some of them have like 6, 8, more strands. Some of them don't have half as many. And I tie a knot in one end. Undo the other, and then spend an awful lot of time, and this is the reason I've been doing it at home, awful lot of time winding them. And the reason I'm doing that is if I twist this, I can really see the braids. It just looks a lot more like 3 bits of rope twisted together. But if I untwist them, and then a quick retwist, just to put it in, and you can still see there's quite a lot of striation in it, a bit like a vine, but it's not as bad as if you'd put the 3 together. And funnily enough, because these have all been twisted and I'm twisting it in the same direction, they will more or less stay twisted for a bit, which is what we want. So just a knot in this end too to hold them together. So what I'm going to do now is finish off the rest of this tree with some of these bigger ones that I've made. So all these bits, I've still got some gaps to do, and it's especially bad around this side. And I've run out of these big tubey ones, and I'm wondering what to do. And the answer is I want these to be thinner anyway, and I want some different ones down here. I always wanted them to be a different type. So what I'm going to do is start putting on some finer ones made from these cords and this, just to build up a slightly different texture perhaps. So I think we're fast reaching the point where I'm going to run out of oomph and string, and we're nearly there. Most of this lower level's now being covered. It's a little bit open on this side. Actually, it's a little bit different, so I'm not so bothered. This is quite open still, so I'm just going to make sure now that I put on the hanging ones that I've got here. I'm going to do those with a finer one, I think, like this, or actually this probably is a bit more suited. So I'm going to start putting just a few of these in. And I'm going to soak them in glue totally in this lovely splodgy whatever. This is where your hands get very gluey. I need to just get rid of some of this hairiness on here, and not everything got glued. And the reason not everything got glued was I ran out of oomph, and I had glued some of the stuff in place, and I was worried that I was going to be pulling it off by trying to get all of this stuff in midair covered in glue. So what you can see is that I've got some of these bits here. It's a little bit hairy, probably should have streamlined that a bit more. But I'm just going to go over it now with just some Decorator's PVA. I'm going to put it in a bowl, and I'm just going to brush it on, which should be fairly simple with a normal brush. My jute twine has finally arrived, the thin one I wanted for these leaves round this side, and I think it came from China. I didn't realise that when I ordered it on Amazon. So it's taken a while to get here, but here it is, and I'm just going to put some thinner
roots, I guess they are. What I don't want to do is do hundreds of them, and I'm probably actually not going to, sounds a bit sad, I'm not going to coat them in glue, partly because I've done that quite a bit, and when they get painted, they'll stiffen up a bit. So I'm literally going to go and just start gluing them in place. So here we are. Here's my jungle vined tree at this stage. And not to worry, next up is painting, and that's another video. But here we are, jungle vines.
One of the other things, it's very childish, and since the shower incident, I don't really like to do the races. But anyway, you get big Cathy's, little Cathy's, well, not the big Cathy, because, you know, for her it's like, oh, I'm over it. And they do this race through the bath mat. So here we go, it's Bath Mat Series 595. Will N-Scale Cathy win this time? We're doing a race to the other side of the bath mat. Now, it might seem like the others have the advantage because they're taller, but I can just go through it, because to me it's like great cavernous mounds. But for them, it's like, well, you know, it's harder to get because they have to go over it a bit more. I just go whoosh through the middle. Watch me go. I love this race. I always win it. Why? I'm the biggest. Watch me go. No, of course it's fair. I'm going to win. Of course it's fair that I win. I don't think I win at. I'm going to win. Sneaky. I can't play cards. I'm like N-Scale Cathy. Yeah, everything. But I'm awful. Eat my dust. So big. I've got longer legs than her. I'm going to win. She's got something nice to sleep. I won. I've only got little legs. Why do I always lose? I want to win something. No, she won't. But seriously, I mean, for you guys out there, you just think your bath mat's something you stand on. Have you ever considered what it looks like from our size? It's not as simple as you think. Those bath mats are dangerous. Look at the size of them. They are not easy. It's like climbing Kilimanjaro every 5 minutes or Everest every 10. It's hard work. You know, you have to consider it from our point of view. And that's what these days in my life are like. They're to make you think what it's like to be small. Really small. Like, really small.